Ladies and gentlemen, we had some breaking news earlier today when it comes to the Microsoft Activision Blizzard deal. Got a bit of a curveball actually this morning based on kind of where the sentiment was yesterday heading into the CMA's decision today. And this, as soon as it was announced that the CMA was blocking the deal, social media just exploded. But we have responses from Activision executives, from Microsoft, people or companies that partnered with Microsoft for Call of Duty. It's all over the place right now, so I wanted to go over that very quickly here today. So if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you like it and subscribe if you're new here to the SpawnWave channel. Let's head over here. This was posted up by the CMA over on the website. They say Microsoft Activision deal prevented to protect innovation and choice in cloud gaming. This is the interesting thing, though. All the talk we've had has been around Call of Duty and Sony, but it turns out cloud gaming is the reason that they're moving to block this whole thing. They say the CMA has prevented Microsoft's proposed purchase of Activision over concerns the deal would alter the future of the fast-growing cloud gaming market, leading to reduced innovation and less choice for UK gamers over the years to come. So after this went out, like I said, there's been a lot of responses and kind of the way forward for Microsoft at this point. And I think that's really what's going to be gone over tomorrow in Newswave, as the situation is still evolving right now as I'm recording this. But they do have an entire write-up kind of going over some of the issues that they have. And the biggest thing is that it's cloud gaming. Microsoft already accounts for an estimated 60 to 70% of global cloud gaming services and has other important strengths in cloud gaming, from owning Xbox, the leading PC operating system, Windows, and global cloud computing infrastructure with Azure and Xbox Cloud Gaming. They go on to talk about how Microsoft would most likely be keeping their games with Activision Blizzard to Windows, and it's interesting to think about that because now they're bringing up the Apple and they're bringing up, I guess, Linux, and we see Valve obviously have their Steam OS, but we see Microsoft put their games on Steam, so the cloud gaming side is certainly what the CMA is concerned about when it comes to the UK. Monthly active users in the UK more than tripled from the start of 2021 to the end of 2022. It is forecast to be worth up to $11 billion globally and $1 billion in the UK by 2026. They do go over, as they mentioned here, the remedy, and Microsoft's proposal contained a number of significant shortcomings connected with the growing and fast-moving nature of cloud gaming services. Did not sufficiently cover different cloud gaming service business models, including multi-game subscription services, which you can kind of think about some of the other subscription services that are out there. PlayStation Plus obviously is going to be coming up because there is a streaming component, cloud gaming, with that. They say it was not sufficiently open to providers who might wish to offer versions of games on PC operating systems other than Windows. So we'd have Mac and Linux, Steam OS thrown in there. And it was standardized the terms and conditions on which games are available, as opposed to them being determined by the dynamism and creativity of competition in the market, as would be expected in the absence of the merger. With a final quote from Martin Coleman, who's the chair of the independent panel, saying cloud gaming needs a free, competitive market to drive innovation and choice. This is best achieved by allowing the current competitive dynamics in cloud gaming to continue to do their job. And that's the thing that I think most people didn't expect. Once the CMA went forward and said, yeah, we're good on the console side of things with Call of Duty and Sony, that's not our concern. Our concern is cloud gaming. I think right then and there, a lot of us, myself included, looked at it and said, well, what are they going to do with cloud gaming when all we've heard this entire way through, the biggest opponent to the deal was Sony, and obviously they're looking at their PlayStation ecosystem, with Call of Duty making them a ton of money since they get 30% royalties on it. But no, this entire time, Jim Ryan really throwing up the front, it was cloud gaming, which again is odd because we see them signing deals with NVIDIA, right? That was a really big one there. And even though they have deals with Nintendo now for Call of Duty, I think with Boosteroid and others, did not seem to be enough to overcome the CMA's concerns when it comes to cloud gaming. So now the biggest talking point has become, is this over? Is this the end for the deal with Microsoft? Because the CMA blocking it and Microsoft apparently now moving to appeal that blocking isn't exactly playing in their favor, just based on history with this entire situation, as it apparently there has not been an appeal that's been successful in this similar situation with the CMA blocking. So people are trying to come up with ways that they can circumvent this if other larger regulatory bodies approve the deal, which might even come down to a region-specific version of Game Pass where Activision Blizzard games just don't go in there. I don't know, that sounds like a lot of regulatory nightmares, working things out. That seems over the top there, but now what people are looking towards is, will other larger regulatory bodies join the CMA to block this? Because if the EU, which I believe is looking to give their message or their decision by the end of May, shows up and blocks as well, it seems like at that point there's a lot of pressure from Microsoft to just move on. Like, don't even really bother with the deal any longer. There's just too much opposition even around the world at that point. If the EU shows up and approves it, people believe that, well, Microsoft then will have something they can go on with their appeal. And if they want to take things further through the court system and all of this, they will have another larger regulatory body to look towards and say, hey, look, they're fine with this because everything's above board and we're not going to have any issues going forward with cloud gaming, which is now the focus. It's not even Sony anymore. They're pretty much out of the picture, actually, at this point. The FTC has been very, very vocal about opposing this deal. So if the EU blocks, the FTC will probably also block. And then that might actually be it for the Microsoft Activision Blizzard deal. I thought we were pretty close to this being over, and now it looks like if Microsoft wants to string this thing out, could be years potentially, which we were so close. I thought we were so close. I think most of us did, and I feel like a lot of people were just kind of hoping that the CMA would approve it so we can just move on from this whole thing, and no, it doesn't look like to be a case. And the other interesting thing is Microsoft's deadline to close this was by the end of June, so the 30th. And if they don't close it at that time, then to my understanding, they would have to renegotiate the deal, which would then work to extend it. But most likely they should be able to do that. But at this point, Microsoft doesn't seem very happy. Activision is certainly not happy after seeing what happened to their stock price after this announcement, which it dropped like 10 or 11%. So the biggest thing here that people should be looking at with really concerning, I would say, is Activision Blizzard, because it's not really going to hurt Microsoft much if they have to move on. They do have to pay out Activision Blizzard $3 billion. But for Microsoft, life moves on. That's whatever. We'll go invest elsewhere. Activision Blizzard's going to get hit hard, and while they do have Call of Duty still, it's going to be rough for them. So that's the biggest thing I would look towards now, is the effects on Activision Blizzard in the future. But let me know what you guys think about this one down below, with now really all eyes on the EU. Are they going to block this, or do you think they'll approve and finally give Microsoft a win? Because it's been a while, and now we're coming up on Redfall reviews. If those don't hit, it's been really tough for Microsoft over the last month at this point. But let me know what you guys think about all of this down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.